Hello students, today our topic is P25.4 after completion of LCR circuits. It's a chapter based on LCR circuits, 25th chapter, and in that fourth part we are discussing displacement current, Maxwell's equations, electromagnetic wave concept introduced by Maxwell, and the energy transported by an electromagnetic wave. So these are the things which we are going to discuss now. So in that, first, Maxwell made one correction related to the basic definition of current. Current, we define it as rate of flow of charge, dq by dt. So this kind of current what we have, this definition, if you are still in that definition, some advancement in the science will not happen, and we need to refresh the definition. This current he called as conduction current, which comes because of flow of charges through a cross section. But he defined another concept called displacement current. What is it? Why that idea came to Maxwell, and what is his point of view regarding current? These all things we'll learn today. So there is nothing wrong in this definition of current, but only this current exists is a wrong notion. So Maxwell proposed concept of displacement current. So first, basically, if you take capacitor and connect it to a battery and switch on, then charge starts growing on this plate, charge starts growing on this plate. That means the current flows like this and some charge comes like this. In between, because between capacitor plates we have an insulator, there will not be any flow of charge. So current is here, but there is no current here. According to Amperian loop law, for example, I take a loop like this here. Integral E dot dl is equal to the EMF. So I'll displace in some other way. So Gauss law first I'll tell. Integral E dot dA gives you the electric flux. That electric flux is equal to total charge enclosed by this surface. dA is a one surface. That surface encloses some charge inside that. Epsilon naught times of the total charge. 1 by epsilon naught times of the total charge. This is called Gauss law. Similar to this Gauss law, you have in current electricity B dot dl. This is a line integral. This is surface integral. Surface integral encloses, that means if you take a surface and enclose it, you will encloses the volume. Line integral encloses the area. So this is a line integral. It encloses some area. Here, the Gaussian surface what you take is independent of size and shape. Whatever size you want to, you can take. Whatever shape you want to, you can take. Like that only. The area which is enclosing line can enclose any type of area. He has not restricted which type of area it is. So here if you take a circular loop, it encloses a circular area. But if at all I take a half hemisphere cup kind of thing, the coffee cup what we drink, that kind of thing, if you take, this also encloses surface area. This loop encloses a circular portion as well as the remaining portion is also a surface. This is also a surface, that is also a surface. We are not closing it. So here in this surface current is passing, which we call it as conduction current, that is rate of flow of charge dq by dt. But in this surface there is no flow of charge. Then our Maxwell told that there is a current here. That current we call it as displacement current. We need to define it in a different way. For that he proposed, this is mu naught times of I. Mu naught times of I. So I piercing through the surface. I piercing. This I here, there is a I which pierces through this part of surface. But there is no I which is piercing through this part of surface. So what is that current defined by Maxwell as displacement current, and this current he defined it as already, which was already existing definition was conduction current. Now what is the proposal put forward by Maxwell that we are going to discuss? The electric field between these two plates E is equal to sigma by epsilon naught. Sigma is nothing but surface charge density, charge per unit area of this plate. Now at the same time we also have this, you can put it here, E is equal to Q by A by epsilon naught, that is QA by Q by A epsilon naught, cross multiply here. So the Q, whatever charge you are talking now, is equal to A epsilon naught E, epsilon naught EA. Electric flux we define like this, electric flux is equal to E dot A, that is EA cos theta. So if direction of field and area are pointing in same direction, the cosine angle becomes cos 0. Cos 0 is 1. So product EA can be taken as electric flux. So epsilon naught electric flux. Now we define a new type of current, we call it as displacement current, and d by dt of Q, and Q should be replaced with the flux between the plates created by electric field, that is epsilon, so in the dq by dt, that is equal d by dt of Q can be replaced with this epsilon naught phi E. You know that epsilon naught is a constant, permittivity of free space, take it out. So displacement current is equal to epsilon naught times of change in electric flux per unit time. Change in electric flux per unit time. Now if I define conduction current as dq by dt, rate of flow of charge, displacement current I define it as epsilon naught times of rate of change of electric flux. Rate of change of electric flux. So outside there is conduction current, here also you have conduction current dq by dt, here also you have dq by dt. Inside there is a current called displacement current, and whose expression is d epsilon naught d phi by phi E by dt. Phi is the electric flux, the flux inside between the plates. That means when charge is coming and approaching this plate, as well as charge is going out of this plate, the field is growing in between. That field which is changing per unit time is created a displacement current. Now after some time, because the insulator, maximum charge when it is attained by capacitor, there will not be any flow of current even though you switch on that. So conduction current becomes 0. Here also there will not be any flow of charges, so again conduction current becomes 0. Whatever we are calling that till now, whatever definition we are given for current, that we are now calling it as conduction current. The latest definition, what we are calling it as displacement current. And field becomes fixed, constant. Once field becomes constant, flux becomes constant, then rate of change of flux, electric flux will be 0. Flux will be there, change will not be there. So this portion also becomes 0. So now also the concept hold true. That means in a closed circuit, when charge is flowing, we say it's that as conduction current. And in any part, if charge is not flowing, in that part also we can define a current. That current we call it as displacement current. So this is all the story about Maxwell's concept of displacement current. Now we shall write Maxwell's equations, keeping in view that the current which we previously defined, I is equal to dq by dt, as conduction current, and the now defined current called displacement current is epsilon naught times of rate of change of electric flux, and in general current is a combination of current and conduction current and displacement current. So we have to drop this notion called I is equal to dq by dt, and now onwards start calling dq by dt as IC, call it as conduction current. Epsilon naught d phi E by dt, call it as displacement current. In general, current is a sum of both currents, conduction as well as displacement currents. In vacuum in particularly, conduction current will be 0. Anyhow, when we discuss EM waves, that concept I have to anyhow explain to you. So that keep aside for this. So first is Gauss law of electromagnetism, Gauss law of electrostatics. So integral E dot dA is a surface integral, and that surface we call it as Gaussian surface. So electric field at any point on the Gaussian surface times of the area of that particular portion, dot product is a small portion. If you have to integrate complete, you have to close the surface and take the integral. That gives you electric flux, and that electric flux is equal to total charge enclosed inside this Gaussian surface by epsilon naught times. This itself Maxwell called as Maxwell's first equation. That is Maxwell's equation. So this is the first Maxwell equation. Second equation is Gauss law of magnetism. So same expression, integral, surface integral B dot dA is equal to magnetic flux, that is equal to 0, because when you enclose a surface, inside that there is a magnetic pole. You cannot have monopoles, only north pole, only south pole cannot be there. So whenever you have a magnet, see these chalk pieces you imagine as set of magnets. These magnets are inside a closed surface. Then for every north pole there exists a south pole, for every south pole there exists a north pole. So on the whole, you cannot have net magnetic pole strength. Net charge can exist, only positive charges you can accumulate it, only negative charges you can accumulate it, and combination can have a net positive or net negative charge. That's not possible here. So when you enclose a Gaussian surface, inside that you take magnetic poles. Poles always will be in pairs. So for every north pole there exists a south pole, so net electric magnetic flux comes out to be 0. This is Gauss law of magnetism. Next, third is we can take Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction. What is Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction? That is, we define potential difference as integral, not closed integral, E dot dl. That means minus. As we go some distance along the electric field, the potential will reduce. So rate of change of magnetic flux with negative sign, this is induced by Gauss law, gives you EMF E, and that EMF E is nothing but your V. That V is nothing but integral E dot dl, not ds. So just I have to write this side that and that side this. So this is a line integral. This line integral will give you rate of change of magnetic flux with minus sign. Here also you will have minus sign. So this concept was given by Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction, and minus comes because of the Lenz law. So you don't need to circulate here. Okay. So, 1 second. Yeah. This says that changing magnetic flux produce electric field. For you to understand, I have drawn this diagram. If you have a coil of certain area, and in that if you insert a magnet, move the magnet relatively, not equally or both keep it at rest, magnetic flux should be changing. That induces current in this. That's what is Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction. This circulation means closed. Suppose you are taking a line that you have to close it. Once you close it, it becomes a coil. So in that case of coil, we get this, which is called Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction. This is nothing but induced EMF, I induced. But we are not writing in terms of induced EMF. Maxwell has written like this. So he says that changing magnetic flux induces a current in the coil. Current is induced means the electric field has pushed the charges inside the wire of a coil. That's the meaning of it. Now fourth one is Ampere's law. Same type, integral B dot dl. So it's a line integral. So you have to circulate along the line. That will be equal to mu naught times of the total current. Similar to this you will get it. Mu naught times of the total current inside that circulated portion. For example, you are circulating along a line. That line encloses a surface. Surface integrals enclose a volume. Line integrals enclose a surface. So that is mu naught times of total current. And now, just now, previously it was only conduction current. Now we define that current is IC plus ID. IC plus ID. So if you separate the terms, mu naught times of IC conduction current plus mu naught times of ID. But ID is we defined as epsilon naught d phi E by dt. You read it here, changing magnetic flux per unit time produces electric field. Changing electric field produces magnetic field. This implies changing electric flux produces magnetic field. So by changing magnetic flux we are producing electric field. By changing electric flux we are producing magnetic field. If at all you don't define, one second. So sorry for the taking up a call. Okay. Changing magnetic flux produces electric field. Changing electric flux produces a magnetic field. If we don't define this concept called displacement current, we would have not got a link between, we already have a link between changing magnetic flux produces electric field, link is there. And when Maxwell made this correction, so what I am trying to emphasize is to get into another new concept called electromagnetic waves. Changing electric field produces magnetic field, changing magnetic field produces electric field. So these two alternatingly produce one another, and the waves propagate, and light is nothing but electromagnetic wave. All the theory comes out because of this small correction. So even though it's a small correction in point of view the length of the derivation is concerned, in science it's a very big correction. So this Maxwell introduced the concept of displacement current, and the existing fundamental laws which are being derived in a span of time, many years they took. And once he rectified it, and he called these four equations as Maxwell's equations. This is Maxwell equation number 1, which is nothing but Gauss law of electrostatics. This is second law. These two talk about surface integrals. Field, magnetic, electric field over a surface, magnetic field over a surface, related to inside what is there. And this talks about circulation. When you go along a particular line, electric field from point to point along a line, from point to magnetic field along point to point along a line, if that line is enclosed, that forms a surface. And through that surface, how the magnetic flux is changing and how electric flux is changing, and that change is producing what? These all things are being told by Maxwell's equations. These Maxwell's equations, whatever I have written here on the board, you can pause the video and copy them. And these two equations are very important when we go into the concept of electromagnetic waves. Total theory we will be doing basing on that. Changing magnetic flux is related to electric field, and changing electric flux is related to magnetic field. Pause the video and copy that. Yes, we shall continue now further. Electromagnetic wave, in this discussion we are taking like this. This is the x-axis direction, that is the direction of velocity of the wave. In y-axis we are taking electric field, in x-axis we are taking magnetic field, E, B. So this I already represented here, E, B and C. And E at any instant is given by maximum value E naught into sine kx minus omega t. You might have studied in waves chapter and all. Y is equal to A sine kx minus omega t formula. So here in the place of y you have electric field and amplitude is maximum electric field. And in case of magnetic field and maximum magnetic field. So at any instant the maximum values are represented by E naught and B naught. Instantaneous values are represented by E and B. Next, you have to understand that these two are in two different planes. For example, this is one plane, this is other plane. They are like this. So they are going like this. Actually, they will oscillate. Electric and magnetic fields will oscillate. But the derivation purpose, throughout the derivation we follow one procedure that I already written on the board. So this is the y-axis. Along y-axis I took E. X-axis I took B. Sorry, x-axis I took C. Y-axis I took E. Z-axis I took B. Similarly same. C, E, B. C, E, B. C, E, B. So now electric field which is changing produces the magnetic field. Changing electric field produces magnetic field. Changing magnetic field produces electric field. Vice versa. So now we have written the Amperian law, E dot dl is equal to d phi by dt. Changing magnetic flux produce electric field. Similarly, changing magnetic electric flux produce magnetic field. Change in magnetic flux produce electric field. Change in electric flux produce magnetic field. In vacuum, there will not be any conduction current. So mu naught times of conduction current is 0. Only displacement current will be there. That already produced electric field will continue. So we have to circulate. This says that circulate along a line. So I am going to circulate along a line. A, B, C, D, A. Come back. So when I come back, so at this place it is E. After some distance dx, it is E plus dE. So E plus dE minus E dot H, EH, will give you that circulated part of E along a line of length L is equal to magnetic flux is given by BA cos 0, and we have taken magnetic field like this, and area vector is also like this. This portion spans some area. That spanned area is also like this. So cos 0. B and A exist. A is nothing but this distance into this height. While circulating, we have defined height. This is the height we are talked about. So H dx will give you A and B inside. So this you on rearranging, we get EH portion and EH portion gets cancelled. So H left side, H right side gets cancelled. You get dE by dx is equal to minus dB by dt. Similarly, here magnetic field is along this plane, BC plane, that is you can call it as ZX plane. Previously we were talking about XY plane, now we are talking about ZX plane, this plane. This is another plane. So this changes we are talking about. Now we are circulating E, F, G, H, E. Previously we circulated A, B, C, D, E, A. So it is an anti-clockwise circulation. This is a clockwise circulation. So in that case, here E plus DE comes first. There BH comes first. B plus DB comes next. Is equal to mu naught epsilon naught. Change in flux is same like this. H dx comes out, the area of this particular portion. H is the length of the line, and H dx, okay, dE by dt. What will get cancelled? BH and one of the BH gets cancelled. H on left side, H on right side gets cancelled. Dx left over. So minus dB by dx is equal to mu naught epsilon naught times of changing, this is B here, changing electric field per unit time. Now these are the instantaneous value E and B. We will represent it with the complete wave equation. So d by dt of what is E? E naught sine kx minus omega t is equal to minus d by dt of B can be written as maximum value B naught sine kx minus omega t. Power came, just I will adjust the exposure. Okay, we will continue that. Exposure has been adjusted. So when light goes away, we have to adjust the exposure of the camera. So this is minus d by dx of B can be written as B naught sine kx minus omega t is equal to mu naught epsilon naught d by dt of This can be written as maximum value E naught amplitude sine kx minus omega t. So this E naught comes out, maximum value, sine becomes cos kx minus omega t, and internal differentiation with respect to t when you make omega comes out is equal to minus b naught, all a constant comes out. Differentiation of sin x is sin omega t is cos kx minus omega t. When you are making differentiation with respect to time, omega comes out. When you are making, so this was dx, sorry. So in this case k comes out. So cos kx minus omega t, cos kx minus omega t gets cancelled. And while differentiating this, minus omega comes out. This is actually, it is minus omega cos kx minus omega t. This cos term gets cancelled. Minus into minus become plus. So E naught by B naught becomes minus into minus plus omega. This k comes out. Omega by k. When we are learning y is equal to a sine kx minus omega t, you learned that wave velocity is omega by k. So this is omega by k is nothing but wave velocity. Just what is it? We don't write it, just we write it as some c. Velocity of wave. Velocity of wave. Till now we are not confirming it is velocity of light. It is just a velocity of a wave. Now here same thing, if you do it, same kind of thing will come. So here you will get b naught into x co-differentiation comes k here is equal to mu naught epsilon naught times of E naught, and differentiation with respect to time, minus omega comes here. So minus here and minus there gets cancel. Bring this b naught here, mu naught epsilon naught E naught by b naught. This is what omega by k we want. So this is omega by k, and this you bring this side, b naught by epsilon naught E naught, and mu naught epsilon naught comes down, 1 by mu naught epsilon naught. Again already we defined omega by k as c. So omega by k is nothing but c. E naught by b naught is omega, E naught by b naught is c, b naught by E naught is 1 by c. 1 by c. So now you cross multiply this c here, implies 1 by mu naught epsilon naught is becoming c square, or c is equal to 1 by root of mu naught epsilon naught. Mu naught value is 4 pi into 10 to the power of minus 7, we studied in magnetism. Epsilon naught is 8.89 into 10 to the power of minus 12, we studied in electrostatics. By substituting this value, they got answer to be nearest to 10 e to the 3 into 10 to the power of 8 meters per second. Practically by Foucault rotating mirror experiment and Fausa's experiment and all, they determined two of light is 3 into 10 to the power of 8. And Maxwell, by introducing concept of displacement current and writing Maxwell's equation, using those Maxwell's equation, two of the Maxwell's equations and wave concept, finally he derived theoretically one answer, that is 3 into 10 to the power of 8. Both are matching. Practically determined velocity of light value and theoretically found out value are coming to be same. Then the Maxwell's proposal of electromagnetic wave concept, that is light is an electromagnetic wave, is been accepted by scientific community. So this is first in this chapter called P25.4, displacement current, that is other than conduction current. dq by dt is conduction current. Mu naught epsilon naught d phi e by dt is called displacement current. Using that, Maxwell has rectified the previous laws, and one of the rectification is that mu naught times of I he replaced with IC plus ID. IC is conduction current, comes because of flow of charges. ID comes because of changing electric field, and changing electric field can even happen in vacuum, but charge will not flow in that vacuum. So that's the difference. So that conduction current we kept 0 and we derived an expression, and here also using wave equation whatever we derived, and there we derived, we finally got velocity of light, and that velocity of light is coming nearest to 3 into 10 to the power of 8 experimental determined value, and this way calculated value is coming same. So then finally it has been accepted that Light is an electromagnetic wave. First Newton told corpuscular theory. Next Huygens told wave theory. In that he told longitudinal waves spreading like this. Then Maxwell told they are transverse electromagnetic waves. So they will be going like this, and changing electric field create a magnetic field, changing magnetic field create a electric field, and oscillating charges, when they produce electric and magnetic fields, they will be continuously changing, and changing these fields propagate in the medium, propagate in the space. While propagating, they don't need any material medium like solid, liquid or gas. They can even propagate through vacuum. This is what is electromagnetic wave concept. And last is energy transport. First thing we learned in waves is waves transport energy but not matter. So from one place to other place they transport energy but not matter. Here also, when light is coming from sun, energy is coming but not matter. So that portion is also important, which is the next lecture. So pause the video and copy this. And these are being derived by taking some things which you remember. Electric field along y-axis, magnetic field along z-axis, and the speed of the wave along x-axis. In the beginning only we have not proposed that c is 3 into 10 power 8. We took some velocity of a wave because and finally that c came out to be 3 into 10 power 8. Then we told that it is light. Students, before getting into the theory of energy transport in electromagnetic waves, first let us understand what is the energy stored in an electric field and magnetic field. Suppose you have two capacitor plates which are fully charged. You have electric field in between the plates, and here when current is flowing through an inductor, inside the inductor there will be a magnetic field. Here I have written B, here I have written E. So this is charged capacitor, and that inductor is carrying a steady current. Now we have potential is defined as work done per unit charge. So cross multiply. dW is equal to V dQ. So U is equal to integral dW, energy I am talking about, is equal to integral V dQ. Same expression comes here. U is equal to integral V dQ. But potential difference between the capacitor plates is Q by V dQ. So Q by C, sorry. 1 by C comes out integral Q dQ. Potential in a inductor is L di by dt into dQ. dQ by dt is again I. L integration dQ by dt is I di. So if you charge it completely from 0 to Q, current is starting from 0 to steady current I. Here we get expression to be Q square by 2C. Here you get half Li square. This is the energy stored in the electric field between the plates of a capacitor carrying a charge Q. This is the energy stored in the magnetic field in an inductor carrying a current of I. Now we talk about energy density, U, that is energy stored per unit volume. Energy stored is Q square by 2C, by volume is area of this plate and this distance, say D. This is equal to, what is Q? Sigma is charge density is equal to charge per unit area. So you can write as charge density into area. So Q can be written as sigma square A square by 2, sorry, AD I write it, 2 as it is I write it. C is epsilon naught A by D for a capacitor. So this D gets cancelled. This A square, numerator denominator gets cancelled. So you will get half, this is epsilon naught, sigma. Electric field related to sigma as sigma by epsilon naught. Sigma is nothing but E epsilon naught. So we can write it as E epsilon naught square divided by epsilon naught. So 1 epsilon naught gets cancelled. So energy density in electric field per unit volume. Every small unit, every small portion in this, we talk it as per unit. Total energy is this. For every small portion of volume, it is half epsilon naught electric field square. Similarly, here energy density in magnetic field is equal to energy in the magnetic field divided by volume. Half Li square divided by volume, area into length, area of that coil into length, that is equal to, but in an inductor, in a solenoid, inductance of a solenoid is this half. I write it here, I write it here. So L is mu naught N I A L into I square. This I square separately. So I will not be there. N I. So AL gets cancelled, and what we have? Just give me a moment. The N1, N2, actually two coils if it is there, but it's only one coil, it's N square it is. So now multiply and divide by mu naught. What do you get? Half mu naught 2 times N square I square whole square divided by mu naught, which is nothing but mu naught Ni is magnetic field strength inside the inductor, B square by 2 mu naught. This is your energy density in the magnetic field. So per every unit volume inside, small portion, every small portion contains this much of B square by 2 mu naught. Here it is half epsilon naught E square. Now in a electric field, E is equal to E naught sin kx minus omega t. In a magnetic field, B is equal to B naught sin kx minus omega t. B is the instantaneous value, B naught is the maximum value, E is the instantaneous value, E naught is the maximum value. So average value, which is RMS value, is E naught by root 2. Average value in this case, B average, is B naught by root 2. So this is energy density at any instant, this is energy density at any instant. But if you want energy density completely on an average scale, U E average is equal to half E naught. E square can be written as this total value, and that total value's average is E naught by root 2. So it can be written as E naught by root 2 whole square. U average of this one comes out to be, you have tried that completely, B is B naught sin square omega t at any instant, and its maximum value is B naught. Its average value is given by B naught by root 2. So B naught by root 2 whole square by 2 mu naught. This comes out to be 1 by 4 times of whatever you have learnt it, 1 by 4 times of epsilon naught E naught square. This and these are not same, they are different. Here 1 by 2, here 1 by 4. Here it is E square, instantaneous value, here it is maximum value. This formula is related to average because this substitution we have made it. Similarly, here also we made the substitution, no? So we'll get B naught square by 4 mu naught. So average value will be half of this value. Average value here it will be half of this. So here you got 1 by 4 and here also you got 1 by 4. Now combine both. So I am taking liberty, I think that you know this. So U total average, making total and average, that is U average in electric field plus U average in magnetic field, that comes out to this plus that 1 by 4 E naught epsilon naught square plus this one B naught square by 4 mu naught. That is, if you sum them, this is half of this, this is half of this. You can take full out of it. That is half epsilon naught E naught square, which is also equal to half epsilon naught, sorry, not that, B naught square by 2 mu naught. So in terms of maximum value, you get sum of this is equal to either this is half of the part and this is half the part. They both are equal. So when they both are equal, when you add it, you will get 1 by 4 plus 1 by 4 as 1 by 2. 1 by 4, 2 of either this or this. This is the average energy in an electromagnetic wave. Average energy in an electromagnetic wave. You can copy that. Lot of questions in IIT mains and advanced and including NEET will come in simple formula kind of thing. So if you understand the energy transport concept, a simple question can be easily answered. So try to do it 1 or 2 times on your own, then you will understand it. What is energy in electric field? What is energy in magnetic field? What is energy inside a capacitor and an inductor? Expression for capacitance is epsilon naught A by D. Expression for inductor is L is equal to inductance mu naught N square I L AL. So we are coming to the conclusion of this topic called energy transport in a wave. Just now we derived this is an average value, and this is total energy per unit volume. So if you take a small elemental portion dV of the total volume, that into this will give you energy in that particular portion of the wave. So dV is not elemental volume, that is nothing but area and travel distance. And distance traveled is equal to velocity of light into time taken. That to the what time interval you want to take, that you can write it. So now you bring this dt and A down. What happens? We define intensity of a wave or intensity of anything is power on a given portion of area. That is energy per unit time divided by area. U by A dt. U by A dt you bring down. Then it is nothing but U average into A. So intensity is nothing but U average into C. U average into C. C is the velocity of light. U average is now what we have calculated it. Half epsilon naught E naught square into C. So whenever you want intensity of the wave, that is power per unit area or energy radiated per unit area per unit time, can be calculated using formula half epsilon naught E naught square, or you can even take B naught square by 2 mu naught into C, where C is the velocity of light. And another pointing vector as an area, this kind of area goes forward. This is one portion of area, this other portion of area, and some part of area is enclosed in it, volume is enclosed in it. In that, how much is the energy transport? Rate of energy transported per unit area like this, as it travels from one place to other place, is given by Poynting vector. And the Poynting vector is equal to 1 by mu naught times of electric field vector into magnetic field vector at any instant. And magnetic field, induction field by mu naught gives you intensity field. Induction field divided by mu naught gives you intensity field. You can remember either any one of the formulas for Poynting vector. This is more famous. You can remember any one of them. And Poynting vector is defined as rate of energy transported per unit area in a wave. So displacement current, Maxwell's equation, and he rectified one of the equations in the previous electricity by using displacement current connected to the electromagnetic waves. And electromagnetic wave, basically any wave, transport energy and momentum. So momentum also I'll talk about. P is equal to momentum, mass times of velocity. So E is equal to, I'll write separately, E is equal to h nu, h c by lambda. Nu is equal to c by lambda, and what we can write, lambda is equal to h by p, de Broglie concept. H gets cancelled. So this is momentum. So this momentum goes up. E is equal to cp, energy, not a vector. Energy, this is a momentum. So momentum magnitude can be obtained by energy by speed of light. Energy by speed of light. If you write it, you get the momentum of that wave. So basically a wave transport energy and momentum, but not matter, and that energy is given by this formula, and momentum is given by this formula. So remaining things we study in a next topic called matter and radiation. How these things are being derived, there I will discuss. This completes electromagnetic wave concept.